we were building ground up luxury construction in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Hollywood Hills, and those homes weren't selling for 180,000. They were selling for $10 million.
Wow.
But in the construction world, that was also a really important next step because those projects are so complicated that from start to when you can bring it to market is typically going to be 2 years.
Welcome to LUXEtalk, where we talk purpose, positivity, and all things luxury. I'm your host, Lisa Berg. And today we have with us Seth Phillips, and Seth is known as Mr. ADU. He's the founder of ADU Gold, a California-based firm specializing in accessory dwelling units. With more than 30 years in real estate, he previously co-owned a large RE/MAX franchise in LA and now focuses on ADU development and residential projects, including renovations and investment properties. Welcome, Seth.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here.
I'm so glad to have you on. So can you tell me, you have over 30 years in real estate. Share with me, if you would, what that experience has helped you with when you started your ADU company and kind of flow what that looks like.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been a licensed agent and now broker for 38 years in California. Okay. And I love being a real estate agent.
Yes.
I probably might have just kept right on going, but an interesting thing happened in 2007. So where I went from having this great job that I loved that paid really well to being unemployed overnight, and it was shocking. So I was looking around for what else I could do while the market was hopefully going to heal, and that's when I went into actually the house flipping business.
Okay.
So because then we were buying, and this is in Los Angeles, these numbers are just crazy sounding, but we were buying properties on the courthouse steps in Los Angeles for $120,000.
Wow.
And then we would fix them up and we'd sell them for $180,000. That was a very important learning curve because I had to learn all about construction stuff at that time. But, you know, when you're buying something for 120 and selling it for 180, and then you got your fix-up costs, your buying costs, your selling costs, it doesn't leave a lot of meat on the bone. So then the next step was to amplify that and to manage many, many projects at the same time because the supply was for that product was unlimited at that time. There was hundreds every day being foreclosed on. So we got better at that. And then as the market just slowly began to heal, we just started to flip homes in more and more expensive neighborhoods until we got to the very top of that food chain where we weren't flipping houses anymore. We were building ground up luxury construction in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Hollywood Hills, and those homes weren't selling for 180,000. They were selling for $10 million.
Wow.
But in the construction world, that was also a really important next step because those projects are so complicated that from start to when you can bring it to market is typically going to be 2 years. Now, a lot can happen in 2 years, both good and bad, of course.
Right.
Fortunately, during that time, it was just mostly all good. But it really had a whole nother layer of construction knowledge into the process. So now we're, many years later on, and we were looking for another project, my business partner and I. So one thing that did change in our thinking is now we've been already in an upward appreciating market for many years. And we all know things move in cycles, and
Yes.
you don't want to be caught at the down cycle when you bought at the high cycle. So
Right.
we were just like going to be a little bit more cautious. So instead of buying a property in Beverly Hills, we bought a property in Culver City, which is a probate. which we bought for $635,000. And our intent was at that time to just continue doing what we had been doing, which was just to knock it down and then build the biggest two-story modern box on it that we could. So that's what we did. We bought it and we hired the architect, and this is just one of those fate things. Literally almost the exact day the plans were finished, I was in the car with my business partner and we were driving to look at some more property. And all of a sudden he told me about this new ADU law that had just gone into effect. And this was one of those weird aha moments that you have in life where you not only remember the thing, but it's so profound. You remember everything about the moment that thing came into your head. So I distinctly remember I was sitting in the passenger seat. I remember looking out the window at the hill on the side of the car as we were driving, and it left such an imprint in me that I immediately deep dived into it. And the more I studied it and the more I researched it, the more I just came to believe this was going to be a very important part of the future in real estate. So I was very fortunately able to convince my business partner to completely abandon those plans that we just
Wow.
paid for. And instead, we didn't knock down the existing house. Instead, we beautifully remodeled it. And then in the backyard, we built the first two-story with rooftop deck luxury ADU in the city of Los Angeles. And I'm very happy to say that that worked because we bought it for $635,000 and we sold it for $1,805,000.
Wow, that's great.
And so we were off and running then. And, as the realtor, when we finished the project, of course, I was the one that was selling it. And when we got done with it, I decided as I was filling out the information sheet, which I'd done hundreds of times before, and I got to the remarks section, and all of a sudden I went, whoa, I don't know what to say because the ADU thing never existed before. So how do you articulate the value of that in a way that will appeal to a seller, to a buyer? So I decided at that point to double down. So I held the house open every Saturday and Sunday. But before the open house, I also started up a meetup group called ADU Development. And it was so amazing because I'd never hosted a meetup before. And when I signed that up, I had 100 people sign up for that site in 1 week.
Wow.
So there was already a curiosity for people because they were hearing about this new ADU thing. So before every open house, I would hold a meetup. So I was putting, over the course of the time that we marketed that, probably 1,000 people came through the property, and I did that because I wanted to hear how people and see how people reacted to the ADU.
Sure.
So then I could be better informed as to how to sell it.
Right.
Because you can't really sell something until you know how it motivates or appeals to people.
Yes.
And it was really such a huge change of my mindset that by the time we finished that project, I went out of the spec building business and just went full-time into the ADU construction services business where I could share this knowledge and really pursue that at that point, which was a very niche new thing. Since then, it's hilarious to me. Every day I see another kitchen remodeler is overnight become an ADU expert. But, that's just the nature of how things grow like that.
Yeah.
But it's really mainstream now and really exciting to be part of this business.
Yeah, that's so great. Sounds like you were on the cutting edge of it, and now it's like turned into a beautiful thing. ADUs, at least, what I've been around, totally increase the value of a property. And when you can custom make them to how people like it, it's just, there's a huge market for that. So,
Yeah.
can you tell me about recent changes in the ADU laws? Can you fill me in on what new opportunities that it might lead to for owners and investors?
Yeah, well, this is now the really exciting part because the first law went into effect 2017,
Okay.
and it was groundbreaking at the time in that it took what was formerly single family zoning, one living unit on it, period.
Okay.
Now you could have two, and that was the big change. And I did some research on where those ADU laws came from, and actually, California is not the first. The first that it appeared that I could find actually was in Portland, Oregon. They were
Interesting.
ahead of the curve, but it actually didn't even start there. The first place that I saw that it started was actually in Vancouver,
Okay.
Canada, where they're called laneway houses because they call alleys laneways there, and that's actually where the whole ADU thing started. But California was the first one that did that statewide, and then they were immediately rewarded because people were immediately getting permits to build them. So the next year they added that you could add a second ADU, a junior ADU, which
Okay.
was great because now you can have 3 units on your property. And then the next step was they let you add ADUs to multifamily zone properties.
Wow.
And that actually turned out to be the most important change because the multifamily people had the same issue, is that they bought a property with X number of units on it, which was typically the most units you could put on that property based
Right.
on the zoning. Now they could have more units on there. And unlike the single family homeowners, because although this is a really good business decision, this is the home where they live. So
Right.
they look at that backyard in a completely different way,
Yes. Yeah.
as they should.
Yes.
But the multifamily people are just like, I got space. I could have another unit. This sounds good. And as the market has, continued to grow in LA, and the regulatory environment, unfortunately, has started to get more challenging. Multifamily people really changed my life in the ADU world because they pretty much all follow one of the most basic rules of real estate investing in general as well. Buy, don't sell. I mean, it's so simple to say, very hard to execute sometimes, but instead, people just did what they would buy stuff. Now they've got more equity. They could pull equity out of a property, buy more stuff. So you're never selling stuff, but you're using your existing assets, improving them, pulling out appreciation or development opportunities you've pulled out of them, and then pushing the ball forward. So this was perfect for them because now in this environment, they still want to add to their portfolios, but the cap rates that they're looking at when they're on the market to buy stuff is so challenging that there's nothing out there that they're licking their chomps at. So now they've got an opportunity to build a unit on free land. It's free because you already own it. So there's
Okay.
no land cost in the equation. So if you can't just pay for the construction and then rent it out on free land, then you're in the wrong place because that'll work anywhere. And that's what they started to figure out. So that's really where things started to change for our company. And the great majority of the business that we do now is with the multifamily owners because it's much more clear cut for them.
Right.
And they're also easier to work with in the process because it's not their home and they're not looking at it through that lens. There's so much more hand holding involved when it's a homeowner, as it should be,
Right. Yeah.
again, because there's so many other things every decision is based around their fact that they live there as well. So it's been a
Exactly.
big deal.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you were talking a little bit ago about the upzoning. And can you tell me, how does upzoning increase the value of the property's land?
Yeah. Well, this is the really cool part is that the basically the value of land primarily is driven by what you can put on the land,
Right.
which is why multifamily zone land is worth more than single family zone land because potentially you can put a lot more on it.
Right.
Well, this is the exact same thing, but in the traditional market that already it's established, that multifamily land is going to sell more because you can put more on it. But this is different because they just changed the what you can put on the land, but they didn't change the zoning per
Okay.
se. So we can still buy the land for the same price that we were before. Now, of course, we're virtually never buying vacant land because that in the city of LA where I primarily
Right.
work, there
Non-existent.
is none there. So, what we ideally purchase is a really rundown old small house, which we're
Okay.
just tearing down. Now it's vacant.
Right.
But the fact is that same piece of dirt is actually worth a lot more now, but we're paying the exact same amount for it. We're just buying a fixer upper house. That
Right.
fixer house is at the exact same price that it was before these laws. It hasn't translated into that. So that's kind of like the secret value,
Okay.
that proposition that exists now. Because if you think about it, the simplest way to look at it is the price of land per door.
Okay.
That's what developers, the multifamily, look at. I'm going
Yes.
to pay this amount of land. I can put this number of units on it. How much does that work out land cost per door? And they just, with these latest laws, literally 20x'd it. And yet the price didn't change for the land. So that's the opportunity right there.
Yes, definitely opportunity there for sure. So tell me about investing in development. What are the biggest mistake that you see investors make when approaching ADU projects?
Yeah, well, it's you're talking to, particularly with single family homeowners, they don't live in the real estate investment world at all. But this is what they're becoming. They're now a real estate investor because they're investing in their own property. But it's really relatively simple dynamics. You're going to be adding square footage to your property. And this is kind of one
Right.
of the most important questions from the beginning that I was asked is how much value will an ADU add to a property? Now, in the end, I think the most simple rule of all will show itself, and it's just taking a while, but it already has, and where there's already been a lot of ADU production. And it's like this: many homes out there were purchased by young families. They bought the least expensive home that they could because that's all
Sure.
they could afford.
Yeah.
And it was maybe a small 2 bedroom, 1 bath house that was 900 to 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
Well, later on, now their family has grown
Right.
and they've kind of like started to outgrow the house. So this has always been a important decision people make. Do we like sell our house and go buy a bigger house? That's really what people have typically done. But they've also always had the option of, we really love our house, we love our neighborhood, we love our neighbors, we want to stay, but we can expand our house and then make the house grow with our family.
Right.
And so they'll add, like a typical thing is they'll add a master bedroom and bath. And what that does to a house is really pretty simple. Whatever your house as a 2 bedroom, 1 bath was worth per square foot, that's pretty much what per square foot your house should be worth now expanded. And that, generally speaking, will prove to be true. So that same formula generally will apply to an ADU. Whatever your house is worth in that location, And this is where it's an advantage probably for ADU development in the city of Los Angeles, where the average price per square foot now is over $600 a square foot
Wow.
on the retail level.
Okay.
So, and the cost to build the ADU, and of course there's no land cost, so it's just the cost of the construction, is higher in California in general. Well, let's put a number of $300 a square foot for the construction, which is high, but that would definitely cover it. So it costs you $300 a square foot to build it. The value it creates is $600 a square foot. You can't go wrong with that investment. You just can't.
Absolutely not. Nope, absolutely not. I think that's fantastic. So when someone hires you for the ADU, tell me what that process looks like. If someone were just to call you up on the phone and say, hey, Seth, I'm thinking about building an ADU, what kind of steps are we going to go through to get there? And what kind of time frame are we looking at?
Well, the time frame, that's not a very happy part of the story, unfortunately. But the process is very simple. I mean, I'm just available. People call me all the time. And, we'll be on the phone and they give me the property address. And then I have this super secret tool that I use. It's called Google Maps. And it's so cool because now I could be on the phone with somebody and we can walk through their backyard, and their backyard could literally be anywhere on the planet.
Right.
There's pictures of it now, and we can actually walk through the backyard together. And I can you got space over here. I can measure it. I can see trees. I can see power wires. I can see all these things that might have an effect on it. But in a 20-minute call with me and their client being on Google Maps together, I can give them a really good idea of exactly what they could put on the property and approximately, what that would cost, what its size would be. And then from there, if they want to move forward, then it's basically hire the contractor and put them to work. Now, the construction process in California is slow from a bureaucratic point of view. Right now, although they have streamlined things really, really well. So we can usually get a ADU permit from the time we submit the plans in 5 to 6 months, which is a chunk of time, but it's not horrible.
Right.
And then the construction time. The construction time is pretty standard. A little longer in Los Angeles because every step of the construction process you make, once you finish that, you have to call up the city. They send out an inspector to make sure that work was done correctly. And the people I talk to are they're really irritated because of all of this oversight that they go through. And I am too, because time is money. But there's really good reasons for that. They just want to make sure that stuff that's being built to house people is going to be built well and be built safe. And that is important. And if that takes you a little more time and a little bit more money to do it, it's like everything. It's an investment. But, considering if you're going to be living there, that's certainly an investment that I'd make every day for sure. So that's the process. And so you're looking at from start to finish, because you're going to also have to prepare the architectural plans, typically about a year is the timeline that I give for people.
Okay. That's awesome. And can you tell me, where do you see the future of ADU going? What does that look like?
Well, this is the really fun part of the discussion for me. And this comes back to the fact that I am also still a realtor, because I'll tell you a quick story. About a year and a half ago, I got a call from a referral that had been sent to me, and it was a young couple. And they were set. They had great jobs that paid good. They had parents that were going to help them with their down payment. They were already pre-approved for over $1 million purchase. I go, this will be great. I'll go out. This will take me 3 weeks, and we'll be in escrow and blah, 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 blah. So I took them out, found a house they liked, and we wrote an offer. There was 25 offers on the property,
Oh,
and
wow.
it just went way over their budget.
Yeah.
And so I go, well, that's not cool. So we went out the next week, found another house. The exact same process happened. Not quite as many, but we still got completely blown out. Next time we went out, same thing happened.
Wow.
And this was just a not a high level area of the city. It was just a up and coming area in the city that was popular, and the market was just going along at a pretty good pace at that point, which it still is pretty much. And I'm just looking at this going, this is like freaking me out. I've got buyers that are ready to buy, and I can't find them $1 million house. $1 million is just one of those, that's a real number. That's a real bridge right
Yeah.
there. I mean, that's just such an important point. So I had to completely switch gears with them, and instead we just found a really great fixer in the neighborhood they wanted for under $1 million. And then they got the FHA 203K loan that was the purchase money and the rehab money together. And then they fixed it up. And now, of course, it is worth well over $1 million just from what they did to it from that standpoint. So that was really good. But it really just had set the alarm bells off, because looking at Los Angeles, and Los Angeles has a bigger number, but relative to income, it's similar across the country. The entry level of housing now is so high that the
Right.
percentage of first time buyers that can just get into the game
Exactly.
is dropping further and further every day. And I have this kind of weird way of expressing this, but you kind of look at the real estate market as being a giant Ponzi scheme. Without new money coming in at the bottom level, nobody gets to move up the pyramid. So if you stop the bottom level, it's not going to be good. What happens? I don't know exactly what happened, but it won't be good. So I'm kind of like on this thing that I really have been looking for ways to try to help first time buyers in particular. So the newest state law, in ADU-ish law in California, now allows a lot to be a single family lot or a multifamily lot to be subdivided into 10 separate lots,
Oh, wow.
each with their own APN that can be sold separately. And then on each one of those lots, you can have a living unit on it. Under the multifamily version of that, each one of those lots can have 2 units on it.
Okay.
So this is a huge new density possibility. We're talking 10 lots, 10 duplexes. That's 20 legal living units you could have on a lot.
Wow.
So where this really got me excited is now we can build, now to take advantage of this on a normal size lot, you have to build vertical. So we have designed this is a first of its a kind, a 3-story vertical duplex. So on the bottom level, you've got a small unit, and then the main living unit is the 2 floors above it. So we're taking advantage of all the airspace. So now the buyer of this end product can buy a duplex, and this is one of the oldest house hacks out there for people that couldn't afford a single family home. They would go buy a duplex, because lenders have always been very cool about this, in that they will give a buyer of a duplex credit for the income from the second unit, whether it's rented now or not, and
Okay.
apply that income towards their qualifying to purchase that duplex.
Interesting.
So that increases their buying power considerably. And then, of course, they can also actually rent that second unit out. And that actually helps to pay for their property then. And now this opportunity has a whole new product to take advantage of this. a brand new duplex vertical townhouse that's a duplex. And I'm just so excited to be able to build this product and then be able to offer it out, because this is going to actually help a whole bunch of young first-time buyers get into the market in a beautiful, really brand new product that's going to be built exactly to their taste and style, and could hopefully start to maybe turn the tide a little bit if enough of these get built.
That's excellent. That's just incredible news. I love that you shared that. And I wanted to thank you so much for coming on today. Can
Great.
you share with our audience where they can find you, Seth Phillips?
Yeah, well, I'm also the founder of the company ADU Gold, and we have a website. And so it's very simple. It's the web address is adugold.com. And that's the name of the company, ADU Gold. And then you can also reach me email, which is Seth, my name, at adugold.com. Or my telephone number, 213-784-4447. And I'm available anytime.
I love it, Seth. Thank you so much. Thank you for all this wonderful insight too on ADUs, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you.
Great. Well, I hope we get an opportunity to meet in person sometime if you're ever in the Los Angeles area. Hit me
Yes,
up
I would love that.
I'd love to see you.
All right, sounds good. You have
Thank
a wonderful day today.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye, Seth.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Lux Talk, where faith leads, luxury inspires, and life is elevated. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and share it with someone navigating all things luxury. For more luxury insights, market education, and elevated conversations, follow Lux Talk, turn on notifications, and join us for what's coming next. Stay elevated, stay informed, and stay connected with Lux Talk.